The night air was thick with mist as Eliza Eversley approached Whiteside Manor. The grand estate had been abandoned for decades, its once majestic facade now crumbling under the weight, time, and neglect. Yet there was an undeniable pull that led her there, a whisper of a forgotten past that beckoned her to uncover its secrets. Eliza was no stranger to the macabre. As a renowned writer of Gothic fiction, she had spent years delving into the darkest corners of human imagination, but nothing could have prepared her for the haunting allure of Whiteside Manor. It was said that the manor was cursed, that anyone who dared to cross its threshold was doomed to suffer a fate worse than death. Eliza had heard the stories, the hushed whispers of villagers who spoke of restless spirits and vengeful apparitions. But she was undeterred. She had come here for a reason, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a desire to uncover the truth. The massive iron gates creaked open as she pushed against them, the sound echoing through the silent night. She stepped onto the overgrown path, her footsteps muffled by the dense fog that clung to the ground like a shroud. The manor loomed ahead, its dark silhouette stark against the moonlit sky. As she drew closer, she could see the intricate details of the architecture, gargoyles perched on the eaves, their stone eyes glaring down at her with malevolent intent. Eliza reached the front door, a massive wooden structure adorned with ironwork. She hesitated for a moment, her hand hovering over the ornate knocker, shaped like a snarling beast. Taking a deep breath, she rapped the knocker 3 times, the sound reverberating through the empty halls within. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit foyer. The air was musty, filled with the scent of decay and old wood. Eliza stepped inside, her eyes adjusting to the gloom. The interior was a testament to the manor's former grandeur. Marble floors, sweeping staircases, and chandeliers that hung like skeletal remains from the ceiling. But everything was coated in a thick layer of dust, the remnants of a time long past. Eliza felt a chill run down her spine as she ventured deeper into the manor. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards beneath her feet. She made her way to the grand hall, a vast room with high ceilings and towering windows that allowed moonlight to filter in, casting eerie shadows on the walls. In the center of the hall stood a large fireplace, its hearth cold and empty. Above it hung a portrait, its colors faded with age. Eliza approached the painting, her breath catching in her throat as she recognized the figure depicted. It was a woman, her features strikingly similar to Eliza's own. The same dark hair, the same piercing eyes. It was as if she were staring at a reflection of herself from another time. A sudden noise broke the silence, a faint whisper that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Eliza turned, her heart pounding in her chest. She saw nothing but shadows, the darkness shifting and undulating like a living thing. She took a step back, her eyes scanning the room for any sign of movement. "Who's there?" she called out. Her voice was trembling. There was no response, only the echo of her words bouncing off the walls. Eliza felt a surge of fear, but also a strange sense of determination. She had come here to uncover the truth, and she wasn't about to be scared away by a few shadows. She made her way to the staircase, the steps groaning under her weight as she ascended. The upper floors were even more decrepit than the lower ones, the walls lined with peeling wallpaper and cracked mirrors. Eliza's footsteps echoed through the empty corridors, the sound growing louder as she approached a closed door at the end of the hall. She reached for the handle, the cold metal sending a shiver through her. The door swung open with a groan, revealing a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room was a 4-poster bed, its once luxurious drapes now tattered and moth-eaten. Eliza stepped inside, her eyes drawn to a small desk in the corner. On it lay a leather-bound journal, pages yellowed with age. Eliza picked up the journal, her fingers trembling as she opened it. The handwriting was elegant, the ink faded but still legible. She began to read, the words painting a vivid picture of the manor's dark history. July 13th, 1864. I can no longer endure the torment that plagues my every waking moment. The manor is cursed, and I fear that I am its latest victim. My husband, Lord Whiteside, has delved into dark art that should have remained buried. He sought power and immortality, but instead, he has unleashed a horror upon this house that cannot be contained. I hear them at night, the whispers of the damned. They call to me, their voices filled with pain and anger. I fear for my soul, for I know that I am next. The only hope lies in destroying the source of the curse, the artifact that my husband brought into this house. But I am too weak, too afraid to face the darkness alone. If anyone finds this journal, know that you must not succumb to the whispers. Destroy the artifact and free us from this eternal torment. Eliza's hands shook as she closed the journal. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. The woman in the portrait was Lady Whiteside, and the curse that plagued the manor was a result of her husband's dark ambitions. Eliza knew what she had to do. She had to find the artifact and destroy it, to free the restless spirits trapped within the manor's walls. She left the room, the journal clutched tightly in her hand. The whispers grew louder as she made her way back down the stairs, the shadows seeming to close in around her. She could feel their presence, their eyes watching her every move. But she pressed on, determined to see her mission through. The grand hall was even darker than before, the moonlight obscured by thick clouds. Eliza approached the fireplace, her eyes scanning the room for any sign of the artifact. She saw nothing but dust and decay, the remnants of a once opulent life now reduced to ruins. A sudden gust of wind blew through the hall, extinguishing the few remaining candles. Eliza felt a chill run down her spine as the darkness closed in around her. She could hear the whispers growing louder, more insistent. They were coming for her. Desperate, she searched the room, her hands feeling along the cold stone of the fireplace. Her fingers brushed against something smooth and cold hidden in a small alcove behind the hearth. She pulled it out, revealing a small ornate box. The artifact. The box was intricately carved, the lid adorned with strange symbols that seemed to writhe and twist in the dim light. Eliza knew that this was the source of the curse, the object that had brought so much pain and suffering to the manor. She had to destroy it. She opened the box, revealing a small blackened stone. It pulsed with a dark energy, its surface swirling with an otherworldly light. Eliza felt a wave of nausea wash over her as she stared at it, the whispers growing louder in her mind. With all her strength, she hurled the stone into the fireplace. There was a blinding flash of light followed by a deafening roar. The ground shook beneath her feet as the manor seemed to come alive, the walls trembling and the floorboards splintering. Eliza was thrown to the ground, her vision blurred by the intense light. She could hear the screams of the spirit, their voices rising in a cacophony of pain and relief. The darkness seemed to lift, the oppressive weight that had hung over the manor dissipating like smoke. When the light finally faded, Eliza found herself lying on the floor of the grand hall. The air was still, the whispers gone. She slowly got to her feet, her body aching from the ordeal. The manor was silent, the oppressive presence that had haunted it for so long, now lifted. Eliza made her way to the front door, the weight of the journal still heavy in her hand. She stepped outside, the cool night air a welcome relief after the stifling darkness of the manor. She took a deep breath, the scent of the forest filling her lungs. As she walked away from Whiteside Manor, Eliza felt a sense of closure. She had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, freeing the spirits trapped within the cursed walls. She knew that she would never forget the horrors she had witnessed, but she also knew that she had done the right thing. The night was still and quiet as Eliza made her way back to the village, the shadows of Whiteside Manor fading into the distance. She had uncovered the truth, and in doing so, she had brought peace to a place long shrouded in darkness.